Hey everybody, welcome to Gootz's Wrestling Pod. It's episode 6, and we are talking WrestleMania 2. And Andrew Lee, you see the shirt I'm wearing, Bruno?
Yes, Bruno San Martino. That is a really nice shirt.
Yeah, I got this actually at the 2019 Survivor Series at Barclays. The reason why I'm wearing this is the only pay-per-view he wrestles on. I was going to wear a Hogan shirt.
Oh, is this the only pay-per-view he wrestles on?
Yeah, he only wrestled at one pay-per-view ever, this one. Guess the next time he's on WWE pay-per-view. Guess which one it is after this.
The one where he walks out and waves to the crowd?
Yes, in 2013. So I'm like, I was gonna wear a Hogan shirt because this is really like Hogan's show, but I'm just like, no, I gotta wear this because this is my last chance.
You know what shirt I really, really, really want after
What?
watching this
What's that?
WrestleMania 2 is that Captain Lou shirt.
Oh yeah. I bet you they sell it
Giant
for
head?
wrestling tees.
Yeah, with the giant head.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
probably buy it on one of these weird wrestling sites. Yeah, so like Power and Glory, you could buy those shirts somewhere. Remember when Power and Glory had their own shirts?
yeah, yeah. Back when
Remember,
everybody had
I
them.
was gonna buy the one that said Glory, and then I didn't. But this one, I was like, I should get it now. You know,
You
the
should
white
get that
shirt just says
You get
Glory.
that Captain Lou shirt. I love
I
that
think
Captain.
I think you can find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna get it?
No.
Why not? It looks so cool with the giant head. I like that.
If I found it like at a convention cheap, but I wouldn't order it. No,
Everybody loves giant head.
I know. Hey, I want to talk about something real quick, and then we'll get. I don't really talk. I know we don't talk a lot about current events anymore, but I do want to
Absolutely.
say
Talk about whatever you want, brother.
I'm sick of the. Let me tell. There's this Twitter discourse where people are like, they're gonna boo Cody. Sammy should get the slot. Cody, they're gonna boo Cody. They're gonna turn on Cody. No one's turning on Cody, guys. Let me tell you, there can be two top faces. That's when a company is healthy. Sami Zayn and Cody can both be the top faces of the company. It doesn't have to be just
Yeah.
one or the other.
Hogan Savage,
Oh, Hogan Warrior.
Hogan Warrior,
Yeah.
Austin
Oh,
Rock.
yeah.
Um, I mean, the list goes on.
And here's the other thing: if you hold off on Sammy winning the title, and then you have him win it during the year, and then next WrestleMania, I don't know, you have Cody versus Sammy, dude. Right now, I just thought about it. If you do Cody versus Sammy in a year, that's gonna sell out WrestleMania alone.
Yeah. I
Because
would even make the argument that WWE is always at its strongest when they
yes,
have two faces, two very popular good guys, you know?
yeah, and like right now, like I see people like, they should even put the title on Cody. It's not enough time to tell the story. And we'll talk about this when we get to WrestleMania 2. Sometimes the most obvious story is the best one. In 1998, it was Austin's time to win the belt. He won the belt, and then the company was incredible for like four years after that. In this on this WrestleMania, it's obvious that Hogan should beat King Kong Bundy. He beat him, and the next WrestleMania is the biggest of all time. The most obvious way to end WrestleMania is Cody beating Roman. That's what they should do. And when they do it, I think it's gonna lead to like a golden age in terms of WWE storylines. So stop trying to second guess it. Stop trying to like fucking like book like that Sammy's being held back. No, none of that. Just enjoy the fact that we have two huge faces right now.
I will say my haircut is looking great.
All
It's
right.
worth the $50. I'm just seeing it now.
Pay
Sorry.
$50 for a haircut. Jesus.
um, yeah. See, I keep hearing people talk about this, but I'm not actually read. I mean, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't actually read anybody who's complaining
Oh, the
about.
people on Twitter, every week they're like the crowd's gonna turn on Cody, and the crowd doesn't turn on Cody because the crowd likes Cody and Sammy. Did you
I
see the
will say
Cody Paul Heyman segment this week?
I did. See, okay, here's my take on that. While it is was a good segment, me personally, I'm getting sick and tired of these like misty eyed Cody promos. I'm getting sick and tired of
Well, I think they're gonna come
it.
to an
Stupid.
end as soon as they. I think as soon as the Sami Zayn match is over, it's gonna come to the end because I think Roman's gonna beat the shit out of Cody the night after Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, am I the only one who's getting sick and tired of like Cody like being like my dad, my
Yeah,
dad?
I
It's like,
think that they're nervous. They don't want to like. They want to just focus on Roman and Sammy right now, and then when he beats Sammy, it's gonna be more like fuck you, Roman, I'm coming for your belt because they're gonna clash. But also, I do think that Roman's gonna. I think they're gonna use Dusty as the main part of the feud.
Yeah, they probably will. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
which
yeah, they
I
probably.
don't have a problem with because he did help Roman. He did help, and like that's part of Roman's story, and that's like that adds to like this element that this is like years in the making. This fight, so I don't mind it. Like
No,
if
no,
he's
no. Like
stupid,
I said, I thought it was a great promo, and
yeah.
dude, I'm like always been a huge Cody fan. I think it makes sense to be Cody versus Roman at the final match of WrestleMania, but I'm just saying I would like him to stop getting misty eyed in these fucking
I
promos.
know, but
Stop it.
you know what though? I like what he does where he and Heyman did this too, where they tie in history, like they don't ignore history. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
fact
of
that they're
course.
bringing up the ECW pay per views in
Yes.
2000, it like rewards you for watching. I
Yes.
like that.
Continuity, yeah. And you know
Yeah,
what? But you could do it without doing those bitchy tears.
I know, I know. I think he's gonna get over
Or
it.
sometimes they come off really fake to me. Like he's trying to. It's
Well,
just like, come on, dude.
I
Bro,
think this week was the last one because now
I
Paul
hope
Heyman made it
so.
personal.
I hope
Yeah,
so. I don't want to see another misty-eyed Cody fucking.
and then I think Roman's gonna. I think Roman and the Bloodline's gonna destroy him in like 2 weeks. So you know.
Hey, dude,
All right,
we're
so
right
let's
now in a
get
good time.
what?
We're right now in a good time in wrestling. It's things are really exciting. There's a
Yeah,
lot of fun
people
characters.
like make that's my thing with these fans, and I think it's because they have they have post traumatic stress syndrome or whatever from Vince McMahon, so they keep waiting for this to be fucked up. They haven't fucked up this entire. In my opinion, the build to Cody Roman and Sammy Roman has been fine since Hell in the Cell, since that the
Hmm.
match with the Bruise. That's kind of where.
Yeah.
And stop waiting for them to fuck it up and just enjoy the show. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink
Hmm.
like what?
There's so no. I said like I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
You
okay. I'm
know,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's so much in WWE right now that's so good. Like
yeah.
the Bloodline storyline, Cody, Dominic Mysterio, even NXT had a really nice premium live event on Saturday. You know,
Oh, I didn't watch that, but
it's good. The first match, woo, you know, got
yeah.
me wet.
But yeah, my thing is just enjoy the show. Don't overthink it. Don't look for problems. Don't the crowd's gonna do this. Don't worry about the crowd. Don't worry about what the crowd's gonna do. Okay, just fucking watch the show. You know?
Yeah, stop over analyzing and
Yeah, and
like anticipating what is happening. People are like,
dude,
"Oh, the
because then
crowd's
these
gonna turn
fucking
on it."
fans get
They haven't.
disappointed.
Worry about it when it happens,
Hmm.
but don't worry about it now because it's not happening now. The
Yeah,
crowd's gonna turn on it, but they didn't. They didn't. So
yeah.
don't
When
fucking
they
sell
do,
it.
then you can post
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, exactly. When they do is when you can fucking talk shit about it, but they're not. So just fucking calm the fuck down. You know,
Yeah, and
we didn't.
who are these people that are going to turn on Cody? Because everyone, if you were at WrestleMania, would you boo Cody? Or I would. I'm going to cheer for Cody because I'm gonna. Are you going to
I mean,
cheer for
well,
Cody?
yeah. I mean, I'm biased. I'm a big Cody fan,
Yeah.
but
So like, I don't know who of these people are going to boo Cody at WrestleMania. Everyone I know likes him in this company, so I don't fucking understand like who they think of. That was the same thing. Like everyone, so WWE never once said Sami Zayn's in the Rumble. They never once had Sami Zayn say, I might go into the Rumble." There was no mention of Sami Zayn in the Rumble. Everyone that weekend was like, "If they put Sami Zayn in the Rumble, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna." When did they say that? You're literally making up a fucking problem. You literally made up a scenario. Oh, I think Sami Zayn should win the Rumble. He was never advertised for the Rumble. Like it's really weird now. These fans, they just keep looking for problems that don't exist. Same thing when
it's
they
because
all want to,
people like fantasy booking, and
but
when
you
it
can't take
doesn't
it
go
real.
according to their thing, they get all mad. They're
Yeah, the
stupid.
same thing with the Sasha Banks thing. The AEW never promoted her.
Yeah,
They never suggested it was going to be her, and then they got mad because they made it up, bro. You know what I think would be great if Hulk Hogan unified the belts at WrestleMania, like they did the same ending at WrestleMania 9. I'm not gonna be mad when that doesn't happen because I just made that up in my head.
Uh, by the way, her name is Monet now.
Nah, fuck her.
So
Her
don't.
name's Sasha Banks. That's who I'm talking
It's Monet or is it Monet?
about. Monet.
Stupid,
Um,
dude. She doesn't know how to
speaking
fucking.
of Monet, let's talk about an event that might have cost them Monet. WrestleMania 2.
This cost them
Um,
money.
I mean, dude, this was a. I was thinking about it. This was a fucking costly venture. 3 events.
3 venues, to me.
3 venues, the same event. They're halfway across the country. There's no internet. There's no fucking cell phones. The fact that they
Wait,
pulled this off and it was pretty shitty. The fact that it just got pulled off was impressive to me.
did they? We don't know if they lost money on this or not, right?
I don't know a lot about WrestleMania 2 because Bruce Pritchard, everyone that Conrad does podcasts with wasn't there for WrestleMania 2. There's really no one who does podcast. I guess Jake the Snake, but I don't think he'd know if they lost money. I've never heard him talk
Yeah.
about it either.
What,
I don't.
you
I've
know,
never really heard the only stories I heard about this WrestleMania is that Roddy Piper didn't like Mr. T, and Mr. T didn't like Roddy
you know
Piper.
what about this? This is my take on WrestleMania 2, but I always felt like WrestleMania 2 was like the WrestleMania that they really didn't want to talk about.
Well, you notice when they don't talk about something, because that's why I think they lost money in this. When they don't talk about something, that means they lost money.
Yeah, because
Because
you know,
they scream
whenever
about WrestleMania 3 every 20
they
seconds.
scream about, they always bring up WrestleMania 1, they always bring up WrestleMania 3, right? And they just skip right over WrestleMania 2. They never really just emphasize the importance of how well it did or like anything like that. And
Well, I mean, I remember as a kid when because I used to put on this WrestleMania like it was like comfort food for me. I would just leave it on. I would rent it from the video store, right? But I remember as a kid being like, I would have been so annoyed if I went to one of these because you're spending most of the time watching a TV screen. I hope they had TV screens for these fucking people. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
then like, especially if you went to the Chicago portion, you saw some really shitty matches, bro. You saw some fucking garbage matches. I think the only people that got a good show were the Los Angeles people.
Yeah, it felt like that anyway. But well, let's get into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
WrestleMania 2, by the way, WrestleMania 2, it takes place in the year 1986.
Yes.
This is well into the NBC WWE kind of partnership, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I noticed I saw a noticeable difference in production between the first 2 pay-per-views and this one. Just the quality of like it wasn't grainy. It didn't feel grainy when I was watching the video. What did you think about
Yeah, I mean it didn't have like I mean WrestleMania 3 is still light years better than this. It didn't have the polish that it eventually will. But yeah, it definitely felt more ambitious and it definitely felt more epic in scope, especially a lot of the shots of the
that?
arenas
Yeah.
and stuff.
But yeah, but even the cameras, like I don't know if they're using better quality cameras, but it just didn't feel that graininess. Like it was very clear, the images. So
There, there's so much about this show where they're
mhm.
taking big risks. I mean, just the fact that they have like these female actresses as color commentators, like they're shoving people in there that don't really know about wrestling, and that
No, yeah.
it's like a lot of like. And then the other thing too is because I know like Vince is such a control freak, the fact that like you have all these NFL players in Chicago, and if something goes wrong, you can't be there to defuse it. And then you have your biggest star in the world, Hulk Hogan, like 8 hours away by plane in LA. And it's like there's so much that could have went wrong. I'm like wondering who was in charge of the venues that Vince wasn't at. Because like
Yeah.
I could kind of see Gorilla Monsoon probably in charge of Chicago, but who the fuck was in charge of LA? You know what I mean? Who was like running point in LA? Like the Vince in LA.
And was this a direct answer to Starcade doing 2 venues?
I don't know. I don't know a lot about this WrestleMania. When I was a kid, I
Yeah.
just thought Vince. When I was a kid, the story I made up in my head was Vince got over ambitious. Like
Okay. Yeah,
he
that's
basically went
that's what
mad
it
with
feels
power.
like. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, the next WrestleMania they do, WrestleMania 3, they only do one venue.
Well,
Is this the only one they do 3 venues?
yes, so I was listening to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and Conrad had those listeners' questions, and a listener asked, "Now that WrestleMania is 2 nights, and this was the idea I had, would you do WrestleMania in one state one night and another state the other night?" And he goes, "No, that wasn't really successful when Vince did it for 2, and you're talking about splitting the crews, you're talking about splitting the ring crews and everything. Then you got to hire more people to set up these big sets. Then
Mm-hmm.
you have like one top star in like one part of the country, another top star in the other part, and people are going to be pissed that they can't get tickets to see the first star. You know what I mean? So you're already, if Roman Reigns is in one state and Cody Rhodes is in the other state, you've already kind of split the draw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because people then have to decide who would I rather see. And then what if no one in Chicago wants to see Cody? They wanted to see Roman, but he's in LA. So he's like, it's just not. It's stupid. It's not financial, and it made sense. Like you're splitting up your crew, and it's like doesn't. No, why would you do that? Put everyone in one place. You can see everyone in this one place. So I think they did make money, and I don't think this was a success. But I could be
Yeah,
wrong. I
which
should
is
do something.
probably why we don't see other pay-per-views in multiple locations. But WrestleMania 2 still starts off with an intro graphic with a nice saxophone music.
I like the
And you got
saxophone.
Vince McMahon Jr. doing the intros from New York City with his co-host Susan St. James from Kate and Alley fame.
Yeah.
Do you know the connection between these two?
Yes, her husband was Dick Ebersol, right? Yes.
Her husband still is Dick Ebersol. They're
Yeah.
still married to this day. And Dick Ebersol is by this time already, remember this is 1986, already good friends with Vince McMahon Jr.
And he's the head of
They've been
NBC
putting on,
Sports.
yeah, they're putting together like, NBC main event, whatever. So,
Did you watch
and
Kate and Alley?
supposedly Dick Ebersol is the one who showed Junior, hey, this is like better quality production, supposedly,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah,
Yeah.
she is his wife, and that's why she's there. I was really surprised by that. I was like, oh shit, I can't believe she's doing this fucking wrestling.
Did you ever watch Kate and Alley?
Yeah, I used to like it a lot.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
don't show
remember
that
too much.
anywhere.
What?
They don't show that anywhere. You can't find it
I
anywhere.
know. Why is that?
Some shows they just bury. I don't know.
I remember they had a son named Chip. One of them had Chip, right? Was it
Yeah, and then
Chip?
there was a little, and the daughters. I thought the daughters were hot when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember. Like, I was too young. I'm like, it's too young for me to kind of really remember too much about it, but I do remember when I used to watch it. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Kate and Al. Anyway, Ray Charles, they somehow got Ray Charles for this, and he sings "America the Beautiful."
I think this is my favorite WWE rendition of the song. Of like, he does a really
Yeah,
good job.
I mean, it was kind of interesting because, like, in the beginning, I feel like he's just making up his own lyrics in the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
But
But
then he starts really vibing. He starts really enjoying it.
yeah, he starts really getting it. Like Ray, this is when he's already like an old fucking man, but
Mm-hmm.
he still got it. And man, how did they get Ray Charles?
I mean, they got a lot of big names for this. I'm sure they hit
Uh,
him up. And they said, "Hey, last year we had Liberace. Last year we had Mr. T," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it. I want to." Maybe Mr. T got it for them. I don't know.
oh, maybe okay. But it
I
was
mean,
really
like,
cool.
they had John Legend do America the Beautiful a couple of years ago, and he's a huge star.
Um, yeah, I guess. By that time, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I mean, my friend had his song at his wedding, the John Legend song.
I don't. Um, I like John Legend. I just don't think he's got as much of that clout as he used to. You
Oh,
know?
but I think to us because we're older, but I think younger people see him like something.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for 20 years, so
John Legend.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Um, you got Mean Gene in Chicago, and he throws it back to New York City, where we have a promo with Roddy Piper with Randy or not Randy Cowboy. I'm gonna do this every fucking time.
Yeah, I know.
Cowboy Bob Orton and Coach Duval, which is Lou Duval, who's supposed to be a famous boxing coach from the New York, New Jersey area, and Roddy Piper says that if he will quit if Mr. T knocks him out in the boxing match. And Roddy says he will never shave his head like an Indian, like Mr. T, and he won't paint himself black. Hmm.
Well, he technically
Hmm.
he stayed true to that. He only painted himself half black.
When I heard that, when he said, I'm never, I was like, let's see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
Um, we get our first match. This is the first four matches are all from New York. If it's Paul Orndorff versus Don Morocco with Mr. Fuji. They're having some audio issues early on, right?
Yeah,
You notice
Susan. You can't hear Susan changed James. I think her microphone doesn't work.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Either that or she had nothing to say about this match.
yeah. You hear like a promo, somebody giving a promo while they're showing
Well,
people.
yeah, they have Paul Orndorff and Don Morocco cut audio promos over.
Yeah, yeah. You don't see the video; you just hear audio promos while they're in the ring. It was very weird. It felt very NWA. And then you get so they're fighting. Supposedly, Paul Orndorff during this match, he's a good guy, by the way. He does slanty eyes at Mr. Fuji.
Yes.
And they cut this out, but I was able to find a still of him doing the slanty.
Oh, I have it on I have the VHS tape. It's on there.
He's like,
well, I mean, like this is the same. Only 3 months ago, the other guy was throwing out flying burritos. So of course, Paul Orndorff would do sling. He sucks.
yeah, this match was like the most racist match because not just the slanty eyes, but the commentary is hilarious. They showed Don Morocco, and you hear Junior go, Don Morocco, sweating profusely. I was like, what the fuck is that? What does that add? And then Paul Orndorff or somebody's doing something, and Susan St. James goes, ooh, some kind of ancient Chinese technique. And Junior goes, oh, yes, because of Mr. Fuji. But he's fucking Japanese. I don't know what the
it's all the same shit to them.
Yeah. Anyway, this ends in a double count out. You hear a noticeable bullshit chant from the audience.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about this fucking clusterfuck?
I mean, the one thing that strikes me about this WrestleMania, at least until we get to Los Angeles, is how short all the undercard matches are. Like they're fucking short, bro. Yeah. And I think that's a real ripoff to sell tickets. You only getting to see 4 matches live, and the matches are like not even TV matches. I don't even know what I would consider that match. It's not even a TV match. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was really bad. It was really bad.
It was bad, and yeah, it's very stupid double count out. Didn't like it. After this, we get a Mr. T promo. He's cutting a promo on Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper, he shaves his little friend Haiti Kid's head, and during his promo, by the way, there's all sorts of communication issues. Like Junior throws to Finkel, and he goes, "Oh wait," they do all this back and forth, but finally he throws to Howard Finkel. Then he goes, "Let's go back to Mr. T," and you hear Howard Finkel talking during Mr. T's promo.
Yeah.
It's very weird. I was like, what the fuck is all these technical problems?
Because their crew is split up in 3 different places. So
that's probably why. That's another probably reason why they don't want to do this again. They were like, dude, the quality was so shitty. Like the stuff we were.
I mean, this is again, like I said, this is '86. You don't have the internet, and you can't communicate with it. You can't like send a fucking DM. Like, dude, what the fuck?
No,
you know what I mean?
Messages, yeah, and nothing like that. Yeah. All right, match number 2 for the Intercontinental Championship. It's George the Animal Steel versus Randy Savage with Liz, who gets his entrance. Susan St. James. So now they're gonna have 2 female guest commentators on this, and when I read some of the reviews of WrestleMania 2, they all shit on them. I disagree. I thought they were fucking great because they give you an outside view.
My favorite was Elvira, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. But Susan St. James wasn't bad herself. Like, she's all for George the Animal Steel, and she talks about why she is and how she goes, Savage, he treats Liz very badly, and so forth. And she's selling the storyline. I love it. And what do you call it? During this match, Savage goes underneath the ring. He comes out the other side. He has a bouquet of flowers. They hit each other with bouquets of flowers. Fucking George Steele eats a turnbuckle and shit. While he's eating the turnbuckle, Susan St. James goes, he's having some breakfast. I thought that was fucking great. Ultimately, Savage hits an elbow drop. George the Animal Steel kicks out of it, and they're wrestling by the corner when all of a sudden Randy Savage trips him up, covers him, and puts his feet on the rope. This fucking finish that we've seen already like at every single pay-per-view now.
Also,
Randy
like,
Savage.
why couldn't I guarantee you George Steele was like, I'm not losing to his finish. You're gonna cheat to beat me. I get, dude. When I was a kid, I liked George Steele. Right when I was a little kid, I thought he was the shit, and I
Of
guess so
course.
that means he did his job. But now I'm like, this fucking guy stinks, and this has to be Savage's worst WrestleMania match. I think.
I don't know if it's. I didn't think it was that bad, but it wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't great,
It,
and
it's just like
there was no there was no problems with liking George Steele when you were a kid because I liked it too. Because he was fun. He was different. He ate the
yeah.
turnbuckles and hit the tongue
But
and
now I'm
shit.
like,
Yeah,
oh, you're just doing like you're not. Why would you kick out of his elbow drop? Like this is his
yeah.
first big pay per view.
Yeah, he kicked out of the elbow drop, and George after the match he even attacks the referee.
Yeah,
What I really liked Susan St. James's commentary. She
yeah.
really added a lot to the storyline and everything.
I mean, the storyline of Savage treating Liz like shit. That I mean, this was a good like. It's funny how like Savage like his storyline goes through all the pay per views. Like he has like this big storyline that goes from like Wrestling Classic all the way to WrestleMania 7, and literally every appearance furthers his story. You know what I mean? Which is kind
Yeah.
of interesting. There's no other wrestler like that.
Is there
But
anybody who did this kind of gimmick after him where it's like he's
you can't
like
because Twitter's
tongue-in-cheek, like treating his wife or girlfriend like shit?
they tried that with Tyson Kidd and Natalia, remember? But then they'd be on social media saying how much they fucking love each other and shit. And
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kills it. You can't do it anymore because let's say like I don't know, let's say fucking Edge is determined to let's say they're gonna start with Edge is gonna cheat on Beth Phoenix with Rhea Ripley, right? And he's
Uh-huh.
gonna treat Beth Phoenix like shit. Um they're either gonna ruin it because they're gonna post on social media like their real life, or fans are gonna get like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. This is spousal abuse. I feel uncomfortable. It's just triggering. So they can never do a story like this ever again.
Yeah. I wish they would do a gimmick like this again. It's great. I love it,
Well,
you know?
I had an idea a year ago that Edge dumps Beth Phoenix for Rhea Ripley, and then he's the weird guy with a too young for him girlfriend. I think that would be. I think a wrestler, like an older wrestler, like being the creepy guy with a girl who's way too young for him, like ripping off Leonardo DiCaprio, will get major heel heat. You know what I mean?
No, because we've already seen that. And it
Who?
was Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes.
Oh, no one really saw that. I'm talking about people with talent.
That
Katie
was
Forbes has no talent.
that
I'm
one
talking like
didn't work out so well, bro.
Edge and Rhea Ripley, or let's say if he could still wrestle Triple H and like Roxy. I'm talking like people with talent.
Yeah. By the way, you, the reason why this gimmick works so well with Savage and Liz too is because it is very subtle.
Yeah.
You never see him like hit Liz. You never see him do that. You just notice that he's just like kind of talks her down. He doesn't
No,
call her stupid.
if he had ever laid his hands on her, it would have been over. That like
Yeah, yeah. He never lays his hands on her. He never calls her stupid or ugly or anything. He just goes and says stuff like, "Get in that corner,"
he just goes
or
right to the line, and then
yeah, yeah. He goes like, "You're get into position. Go where you're supposed to be." Or he goes like, "Oh, you screwed this up again." But he's not actually calling her
yeah.
names and stuff. And I think if you had somebody do this now, where it's subtle like that, where you can't like even if you accuse him of
People
being
would be more triggered by the subtle thing than if they had the male wrestler just annihilate the woman like in a beatdown.
no, but I think he could play it off because then you could always just
I
argue.
think it would work too, but I'm telling you, these people on Twitter are way too sensitive.
Yeah, and you
Now I
need
would just ignore Twitter and keep
the
tweeting.
woman. The woman can't be a wrestler either. She can't be a wrestler. It
I
has
know,
to be
yeah.
a ballet. It has to be a ballet. Anyway, let's move right along. It is we're in Chicago, by the way. Now, Mean Gene is going to. He's interviewing Big John Studd and Bill Frolic, who is NFL
Freilich,
player for the Freelick,
Freilich.
Frelick, Freelick. Doesn't matter. Atlanta. He plays for the Atlanta
I'll never
Falcons.
see this guy again. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a decent back and forth like promo because Stud is basically saying wrestlers are stronger than football players, and he Dean Gene throws it back to Vince McMahon and Susan St. James, and Vince goes, "Susan, do you like snakes?" And Susan can't. She's still talking about George the Animal Steel. She's like, I don't know. I like George the Animal Steel. It's like
There's a couple of times she doesn't take his hint, and you can see him keep trying to give her the hint, like
yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking about this now. You know what I mean?
You know, when I first saw her on commentary with him, I originally thought, oh, this is one of like Junior's first sexual harassment things, right? But it's not. It's not. This is like the one lady he's not gonna sexually
He's
abuse.
not. He ain't fucking. No, he's not. He's not fucking Dick Ebersole's wife. That ain't
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. So we anyway, this segue leads to match number 3. George Wells. This is the first time I've ever seen or heard of George Wells.
He was. I found out a little bit more about him recently. He was born in the Mid South as JYD's replacement because Bill Watts thought I just need another stupid looking black guy, and he didn't last. And then WWE hired him as a jobber. So
what was his name in Mid?
I think it was George Wells.
See, that's a problem. Well, I guess Junkyard Dog was not. He used his name like something. He used his name when he was in Mid South, right? But he also used George Junkyard Dog, right?
He was only a Junkyard Dog. He might have been some like I think he had originally had a more racist name like Soul Bro or Fried Chicken Buddy or I don't know. So it was something like racist.
No, dude. No, I'm pretty sure in Mid South he used
because his real name is Sylvester Ritter. I don't think he ever went by that as a look up JYD's names.
Right. I think you're right. You're right. Yeah, he never went by. He said he used the name Leroy Rochester.
That's okay. Yeah, you go. That's a white guy gives. That's the name a white guy gives a black guy.
Yeah, Big Daddy Ritter.
Big Daddy Ritter. There you go.
Yeah, and then he went. Yeah, see, here's the thing. If you're gonna replace a Junkyard Dog, you can't replace it with a guy named George Wells. You need like a fucking name, like I don't know, Trash Can Mutt or some shit like that. All right. Anyways, George Wells versus Jake Roberts. They do mention on commentary that George Wells has a Canadian football background and stuff. Anyways, Roberts hits a DDT and they get the fucking snake out, the python. Susan St. James really sells the shit out of this snake. She's like, oh, I can't look. She's like freaking out, but perfect. That's how you got to sell it. They put the fucking snake on, Roberts puts the snake on George Wells, and George Wells starts foaming in the mouth. I thought this was fucking great. It was like it felt like a jobber match on a pay-per-view, but it was still really good.
Oh, this made Jake the Snake look like a star. It made him look like the most dangerous guy in the company. This was the best match on the New York portion of the show. Not the best match of the show, but the best match in New York. Again, it's not really a WrestleMania match, but as a way to like introduce everyone to Jake the Snake, it was a fucking home run. It made him look like a monster, a killer.
Jake wasn't in WrestleMania 1 or Wrestle Classic, right?
No, this is his first pay-per-view appearance.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I agree with you. This is a great way to introduce him to the audience. Yeah, absolutely, great. All right, we get a video package of the feud between Mr. T and Roddy Piper, and in LA you have Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan is cutting a promo, and Jesse Ventura is asking about his injured ribs and about his buddy. Did I write? I guess never mind.
I think they talk about Mr. T too.
Yeah, and it talks about Mr. T and how he knows Mr. T is gonna win. They talk about his opponent, King Kong Bundy, and there's noticeable like problems between Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan. Like they clearly don't like each other. Yeah, which is great. I love that. Howard Finkel introduced.
You know what I liked about Hulk Hogan? They would never do this now. They would never do this now. The fact that like there's commentators that just don't like him, and they don't budge from that. They never like. You would never see that now. Like you would just never see like Corey Graves be openly hostile towards Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Like you fucking stick.
There kind of is. There's Michael Cole constantly shitting on Top Dollar right now.
Oh, okay, yeah, but Top Dollar's not the top. Top Dollar's not the top dollar.
The top guy, the top guy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're right, but I love it. They should do it.
I love it because
Yeah.
I don't know. It just makes Hogan seem like a bigger deal. That there's people in this there's people that are like I fucking hate this guy, and then it made his heel turn even better because Bobby Heenan goes, I told you guys for years this guy was a piece of shit, and it's like
Yeah.
it made it like even though it was a different company, I don't know, it just made everything.
No, no, no. You're right. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. You're right. It does enhance everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard Finkel in New York, he introduced you to the guest ring announcer, Joan Rivers, as well as the judges for the main event in the New York area. Daryl Dawkins, who plays for the New Jersey Nets. His nickname is Chocolate Thunder, and he got Cab Calloway.
Yeah, he was a band leader in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. He was in Blues Brothers. I actually, when I was a kid, I had to write a biography on him. G. Gordon Liddy, who is a famous FBI agent, who worked
went
on
to
the
jail for Watergate.
Yeah, and the timekeeper, who Joan Rivers couldn't wait to meet, was Herb, and I was like, "Who the fuck is Herb?" This is a guy is like, he was like one of those characters in the Burger King commercial.
Yeah, dude, this commercial's so obscure. I never saw it. Like later on, they have the "Where's the Beef" lady, and I remember seeing those commercials everywhere.
If you guys don't, some of you guys who are much younger don't understand this, but back then, like if you were in a really good commercial, you could end up like getting your own fucking movie. Like it's happening. Ernest is a great
example. Can I tell you, I feel like the commercial stars of the 80s and the TikTok stars of today.
Oh, I guess you're right. You could look at it that way. Yeah, because like this guy, he's just playing like he didn't write this commercial. Like he didn't invent this character.
I've still never seen. Did you watch the Herb commercials?
Yeah, I looked it up after this.
I should watch them.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. But like this guy, he's just an actor who's picked to play this character on a TV commercial, and dude, he's in WrestleMania, dude. Like they make him he's like celebrities, dude.
That's probably like where people are gonna talk about him forever because he's on WrestleMania too.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, okay, Flo from Progressive is a very good example. Yeah. She's constantly in these commercials, but guess what? She's never gonna get invited to WrestleMania.
Well, Jake from State Farm was at WrestleMania.
He was?
Yeah.
Jake from State Farm, he was?
Yeah, he was involved in something. This list like Flo. No, I think he was, or Super Bowl. He was at the Super Bowl, but still, it's like. Did you know there's Flo like porn out there and shit?
Yeah, there is.
And fanfic where like she gets fucked.
Oh. You know what I'm gonna be doing after this podcast? All right. All right, let's go to the main event. It's a boxing match. Mr. T with the Haiti Kid and Smoking Joe Frazier.
He jumped.
Fresh from his feud with Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes is crying hysterically over it.
Versus Mr. T. Versus Roddy Piper. Sorry. So Mr. T, they're boxing. Mr. T goes down in round number 2. While he's in the corner during the breaks, Bob Orton throws water on Mr. T. This is like not even a real wrestling. This is not a real boxing match. Roddy Piper goes down in round 3, and then twice actually. Once even outside the ring. They finally show a ring girl with a giant gold glove, which gets the biggest pop of the night, I think, in this match. Before round 4 begins, for some reason, like Piper just grabs his chair and throws it at fucking Mr. T, and they start doing that stupid Japanese thing where everyone just goes punch for punch and there's no defense at all. It's just like I punch you, you punch me. I punch you, you punch me. There's this stupid back and forth thing that nobody would ever do in a real fucking fight.
Yeah.
And the ref gets bumped down. Piper picks up Mr. T and body slams, and there's a whole melee, and everyone gets involved. Mr. T wins by DQ. What did you think of this match?
Oh, I hated it. Let me tell you something. This is the other thing I didn't notice when I was a kid. Mr. T looks really out of shape, too, in this. He does not look like he's in the shape he was at WrestleMania 1. But, dude, like, there's never a payoff unless you're going to do something completely insane. There's never a good payoff when they try to do a fake boxing match.
Yeah.
I hope they never do that again. Maybe like for a sketch, like maybe if you want to do like a quick like comedy sketch, like you have the Miz or Santino or something. But other than that, there is no reason to waste anyone's time with having a fake boxing match on a wrestling pay per view. It's not a. It doesn't look good when you stage it.
What happened with Joe Frazier? Why come he did work with Dusty and work the WrestleMania instead?
Because WrestleMania is WrestleMania, baby. All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, also that fucking. Also, you know what though? This might be better than that Dusty match. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, of course.
This
No, he made the right.
this had a
He
better
made the right
finish.
call. He made the right call, 100%. I just was
Yeah.
like curious about this.
Also, like Mr. T's, like dude, you gotta understand, Mr. T's like a legit massive star back in these two.
Oh yeah, dude,
So
absolutely.
he's probably like gonna work with this fat loser. I mean, no offense to Cody, this fat idiot or the guy in the A team. I'm gonna work with the guy in the A team. You know,
Somewhere Cody just dropped a tear because somebody
like,
mentioned.
you just made it personal.
All right, we go to Chicago. We got Gorilla Monsoon with Mean Gene. They're at the Rosemont, and joining them on commentary is Katie Lee, no, Kathy Lee Crosby, who I'm not familiar with her at all. She's some kind of actress.
She's a guess what she was. I don't know if you know this. She was the very first Wonder Woman.
Yeah, in a made-for-TV movie or something,
Yeah.
right? But wasn't she famous for something else?
Yeah, she was on a bunch of TV shows, and she
Oh,
was
okay.
dating a football player at the time, a pretty major football player. I don't
And
know really a lot. I used to know more about her because like my mom was a fan. She was in a
okay.
bunch of things. She was kind of like I don't know. She was like Whitney Cummings. I don't know. You know, Whitney Cummings is like famous, but not for really anything.
I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I had never heard this lady until now.
She was
Chet.
big back then. She was big. This was like a get for them. Yeah, this
All
would be
right,
like
Chet.
you know the blonde in Black Widow, the new Black Widow.
Yeah.
If she did color commentating for Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chet Kopak is the announcer. Who is he?
Probably somebody they probably just somebody they had to get because fucking they couldn't have Finkel in 3 different places. So
Okay. You're probably right. All right. The first match is a ladies' match. It is Velvet McIntyre versus Moolah, who is the ladies' champion. Velvet misses a top rope splash, and Moolah pins her. This is Katie Lee's first time ever watching wrestling. She does mention that, and she's amazed by the athleticism of this match. Let me tell you, this match to me is right up there with Carlos Colon versus Abdul.
I was angry after watching this match. Let me just tell you something. Fabulous Moolah is the biggest piece of shit in the fucking world. She is a fucking piece of shit. She's not a legend. She's not an icon. She held down. You know, WrestleMania 1, right? Yeah. I know you didn't like that match. That match was over. Wendy Richter was over. And then because Wendy Richter didn't want to give Fabulous Moolah her fucking cut, her fucking madam fucking prostitute cut, is they screwed her, they kicked her out of the company. And now Fabulous Moolah, instead of like having a competitive match and trying to get over this young woman over, just squashes her and eats her up for her own goddamn freaking ego. The women's wrestling could have a revolution fucking 40 years ago, but because this old decrepit piece of garbage couldn't get out of the fucking way, women's wrestling had. If you're a women's wrestler, you should spit on her grave. All of even now, even if you're starting today, you should spit on her fucking grave, man.
No,
this match was such a selfish. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Find her grave and dance on it.
Dance on it. This was such a selfish. This was such a destructive. It's basically like I'm the only one who gets to make any money or do anything interesting in women's wrestling. None of you else do. I'm on WrestleMania. I'm not even letting this woman show what she can do. I'm going to squash her and leave. And she just looks like an old. It looks pathetic. It looks pathetic.
She looked old. Was she ever young? I feel like Moolah was born old. She looked old.
Yeah.
She looked so old. How old is she during that?
She's got to be in her 50s, I think.
Yeah, she's old, and Velvet McIntyre is like a young, fresh face, and she just the fact that you're telling me that this old decrepit old lady is beating the shit out of her is like totally unbelievable.
This
You
is
know?
why I think there's more that we don't know about Vince, because Vince had the idea. His pitch was, I'm going to sell Barbie dolls, Whitney Victor, right? Why
Yeah.
would you give that up so Fabulous Moolah could get her cut? She must have had something on Vince, or he must have been like hiring some of the girls from her to blow him or something. Because, like,
Yeah.
why would you? You had, dude, that match was money a year ago. And then you just completely gave up on trying to make money with women for years because of this old slob. Watching the two shows back to back, this match made me so angry, so angry. And no, and
There's
also
definitely
where we are now.
there's definitely something weird about why she's on this, right? It's
Yeah,
like she's
and she
like
just
it's
gobbles this
very
woman
weird.
up.
It's a very big pivot from you have to remember, guys, just about a year ago, the women's title is like one of the main events,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it is very important. It's got attached to it is fucking Cyndi Lauper, probably the biggest pop star at that time. And now
It's the second main event.
yeah, and now they get rid of her and they put it on the title on this old lady and she's in a quick jobber match, squash match, right? And it's like it's very weird and it
And the other
does
weird thing
seem
is there's no women's matches until at a WrestleMania until WrestleMania 10. So they
yeah,
don't even.
it's very suspicious. You know, I feel like yeah, maybe it's almost suspicious to the point where like what
What
did
does she
she
have on
have?
Vince?
Yeah,
Because
what did
like
she have on it exactly?
you
Yeah.
know, you know, like so they did an episode of Fabulous Moolah, and Bruce Pritchard was like defending her hard on the show. Like, well, no, she was entitled to her cut. That was in her contract. She wasn't ripping these women off. They could have wrestled without her, but she was entitled to her cut. Like, why are you defending that? Why should this woman get a cut of anything?
Yeah.
Like, why is this? Why? Like, I've never heard of anything like that. Like, there's not like, hey, if you're a man, you want to play soccer, you got to give Pele 5% of your money because he's entitled to it. Why does every woman who wants to wrestle have to give a cut to this old bag? And when one woman said no, basically the entire division got tanked.
Yeah, that's true.
A whole business
Right.
model went down to appease one old lady. There's something else that we don't know about between
Of
her and
course.
Vince.
Yeah. And you know what? We're never gonna find out. Probably.
No, we're never gonna find because I feel like that's one of the secrets they're gonna keep to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Randy
So,
Savage thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Match number 6. It is a flag match, which means if you win the match, you can just fucking wave around your flag. It is Nikolai Volkov with Buddy Blassie, where he sings the Russian national anthem, the USSR, Soviet national anthem, versus Corporal Kirshner, who gets an entrance. The Corporal bleeds early. He's bleeding. There's a ref bump. Freddie Blassie throws his cane into the ring, but the Corporal grabs it and he uses it to win the match. What did you think about this? And that way he gets to win.
I got up to pee, and when I came out of the bathroom, the match was already over.
Uh,
Like I was shocked how fast this match was again, and that also got me annoyed because these poor assholes from Chicago paid for 4 matches, and
yes.
within 3 minutes, the show's halfway over.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. They're quick. Like, let me see how long do they have time cues?
Yeah,
So,
I couldn't believe how short this match was.
Fabulous Moolah match, by the way, was a minute 25 seconds.
Pathetic.
The flag match that we just talked about was 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Okay. So these are very quick matches. Yeah. We go to match number 7, and it is the 20-man battle royal. The timekeeper is Claire Pilar, who is where's the beef lady from the Wendy's commercial.
Yes, her I remember.
Yeah, they got 2 fucking fast food fucking spokespeople on this fucking.
That's how big fast food was, guys.
Yeah.
You had 2 people famous commercials for fast food.
And yeah, they had Herb from Burger King. They had this. Where's the beef lady from Wendy's? They should have had like a Ronald McDonald. They should have just done it.
Well, McDonald's didn't have a person like this, but yes, Ronald McDonald.
No, Ronald McDonald, dude. Just have Ronald McDonald.
They can still have him this year.
Yeah. The referee is Dick Butkus from the NFL, and Ed Too Tall Jones as well, who's like a next referee. So here are the participants. So this match is supposed to be like NFL football players and wrestlers, and I thought it was gonna be like like 10
No.
and 10. And it was not. There's like six football players, and the rest of them are
But you
all
you
wrestlers.
you can't have 10 inexperienced guys in that ring.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, you
They have
gotta only have a few so you can make it work.
Yeah, they have Ernie Ladd on commentary because Ernie Ladd has background in both the NFL and the wrestling. So he was actually the perfect.
I don't know how the info, but I'm gonna guess I bet you anything Ernie Ladd was brought in to be in charge of the Chicago production.
Okay, yeah,
He was Bill Watts' right hand man, and he knew a lot of NFL players. I
yes,
bet you he was like he was the Vince in that town for
yeah.
that show.
I can believe it. I could buy that. Um, by the way, Ernie Ladd, I've only heard good things about that guy. Ever, always.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of heard he was kind of like Bill Watts' like bitch, but they were also like best friends. And I know Bill Watts is pretty racist, and Ernie Ladd I think defended him. Did you ever hear what he said? Like the comments he made when he ran WCW?
What do you say?
He said it's your right if you own a restaurant, you don't want to serve black people or gay people. That's your right. You worked hard to open up that restaurant. Why you should be able to serve whoever you want. And black people are like it was something like black people are just they're just dumber, but it's not their fault. It's the way their communities are run or something. It was like
No
really
way.
like what?
No way.
It was crazy. It was like it was like or black people are better athletes because it's just what's how they're raised and all the years of how we bred them. I don't know. It was like really crazy shit. And I think Ernie Ladd
Really?
still had his back.
Wow. I gotta find a transcript of
It,
what
it
he
was
fucking.
so bad that the baseball player Hank Aaron. He's like
Yeah, I
famous.
know. That's the reason why he got fired from
Yeah, well,
WCW.
because he basically like I'm not
Oh,
working
I
for.
found it. Oh, I found it. Dude, this is not even a long time ago. Well, it is, I guess, but 1991. We're already in the 90s when he
Yeah, and
said,
it was in the Pro Wrestling Torch, and
if
he got
you
fought. Why? It was like stuff like why would you say this out loud?
if you want a business and you put money in, why shouldn't you be able to discriminate? It's your business. If free enterprise is going to make or break it, you should be able to discriminate. It should be that. By God, if you're going to open your doors in America, you can discriminate. Why the fuck not? That's why I went into business so that I could discriminate. I mean,
I
really. I
say
mean,
this
I
stuff out
want to
loud.
be able to serve who I want to. It's my business. It's my investment. I can't tell a fag to go get the fuck out. I should have the right to not associate with a fag if I don't want to. I mean, why should I have to hire a fucking fag if I don't? Oh my God, Jesus Christ! This dude, he says it so fucking much. Just,
Dude, and then the craziest part is he got hired 3 years later to be like Vince's right hand man in WWF.
oh my God. I'm gonna get into the blacks now. This is what he's gonna get into. This is Bill Watts' words,
We
guys,
should
not
probably
mine.
save this to when he's running WCW, those pay per views.
Yeah. He goes, who killed more blacks than anyone? The fucking blacks. But they want to blame
By the way,
that
Shamrock still
bullshit
defends this
roots.
guy.
But they want to blame that bullshit roots that came on the end. The roots was so bullshit. All you have to do is want all you have to do if you want slaves is to hand beads to the chiefs and they give you slaves. What is the best thing that has ever happened to the black race? That they were brought to this country. No matter how they got here, you know why? Because they intermarried and got educated. They're the ones running the black race. You go down to the black countries and they're all broke. Idi Amin killed more blacks than we ever killed. You see what I mean? That's how stupid we are. But we get all caught up in this bullshit rhetoric. So it's ridiculous what's happening. It just gets worse.
Because of this, Eric Bischoff got the job.
Well, yeah, this is the best part. Lester Maddox was right. If you don't want to sell fried chicken to blacks, I shouldn't have to. It's my restaurant. At least I respect it for that. Jesus. By the way, this was the Lester Maddox was the restaurant owner from the 1960s who only served white people.
Yeah.
And when they told him he's gotta sell to everybody, he just closed his restaurant. This I can't believe you're telling me Ernie Ladd like we're
Ernie
still
Ladd, Jim
friends with
Ross
this
still
guy?
defend him. Jim Ross talks about this guy like he's God to this day on a stupid fucking podcast.
Yeah, Jim
And
Ross
he
is
calls him. You know what I don't like about this? I don't like Jim Ross. If you want to not
you know
like,
what?
if you want to
Yeah,
like
go
Jim
ahead.
Ross, don't listen to his podcast.
I will say this. I agree. I remember you telling me this. The more you listen to Jim Ross' podcast, the more you fucking found out he's an idiot.
What
Right?
he won't call this guy Bill Watt. He always calls him the cowboy. The cowboy would tell me like he still admires him. Like you can tell like he looks up this guy as a dad. It's like why would you look up to someone who said that dumb shit? Why would you think that guy as a sec? He lucked out because he had incredible talent. In his company, he had JYD, he had Paul Orndorff, he had King Kong Bundy, he had Ted DiBiase, he had Jim Duggan, and when they all went to Vince, what happened? He went out of business and he never did anything ever again. So how do you admire someone like that?
Yeah, you're right. I can't believe Ernie Ladd was still good friends with Bill Watts after all that
Yeah, I'm
shit he
pretty
said. But
sure.
whatever.
That's the only
Okay.
thing but Ernie Ladd is, he's a pioneer.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Ernie Ladd, but this was news to me that he was friends with him like this. But anyway, Ernie Ladd's on commentary for this 20-man battle royal, and here are the participants, and I'm gonna let you know when they get thrown out. From the Chicago Bears, Jimbo Covert, he's thrown out. He comes in first, and he's the first guy thrown out too. Pedro Morales, he gets thrown out sixth. Tony Atlas gets thrown out fifth. Ted Arcidi, he gets thrown out eighth. Do you know who this guy is? I never heard this guy.
Yeah, he had a figure.
Like you mean like the small hash bro ones?
No, he had an LJM figure, the big one, Ted Arcidi. Yeah.
Oh, he did. Oh, I never even heard this guy. From the Dallas Cowboys, Harvey Martin gets thrown out seventh. Dan Spivey, who looks like Hulk Hogan in this, gets thrown out ninth. Hillbilly Jim, who got a big pop, he gets thrown out at 11th. King Tonga, which is Haku, he's looking very young in this, by the way, thrown out second with Jimbo Covert, and Iron Sheik thrown out 16th. From the Steelers, Ernie Holmes thrown out third. The Killer Bees, the tag team, they're thrown out fourth and 10th. Big John Studd thrown out 16th. Falcons, Bill Fralick thrown out 12th. The Hart Foundation, who will be the last two in the ring with Andre the Giant thrown out 18th, 19th. 49ers, Russ Francis thrown out 17th. Bruno Sammartino, who got like probably the best reaction in everybody in his group, he gets thrown out 14th. He's not even
Really,
in the final.
nobody really got a good reaction except for the refrigerator and Andre.
No, Bruno got a good reaction. If you go back and listen, he's still
Okay.
people still like him. But this thing about how like Vince McMahon would, if he thought that you were old, he would just kind of put you out to pasture. I mean,
That's what they do in this match. They make him look
yeah,
like an idiot.
yeah. It's just like the older you're getting, he's just like getting rid of. From the Bears, William Perry, actually, Refrigerator Perry did get the big spot. Yeah,
Every time he did something, he got a massive pop.
yeah. He got thrown out 15th. By the way, when Refrigerator Perry jumps into the ring the first time, did you see the way Mean Gene sold it? Like he sold it like he was on a crate, while all the other fucking asshole wrestlers just standing there like nothing happened.
Because they don't want to sell for this guy because he was you know why he was so over? He had just won a Super Bowl in January.
Yeah. And he had that song, the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Yes, I had that album. And I didn't like football.
This is why I love Mean Gene. He's such a consummate professional. Anyway, Andre the Giant wins this battle royal. It was what it was. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. What did you think?
It's not that good, but it's always been one of my favorite battle royals, and I stand by that. I think the closing moments with the Hart Foundation and Andre were really fucking great. And I would not be surprised if Andre said, I want those two to be the last two.
Oh, you know what? I was going to ask, why were those two the last two in there with Andre? You think Andre requested that?
Yeah, because they made him look great. They made him look
They did make him look great. They did. They both made him look massive. Yeah.
So we're doing the count to see how if all these all-time greats, if they have good matches versus bad matches. So Bret Hart, I'm gonna count this as a good match in his good
Yeah,
match bad match. So Bret
good
Hart's
performance.
already
Good
up one.
performance by Bret Hart, I would say. Yes, very good
Yeah,
performance.
and Randy Savage, I would say, had a bad match this one. But Bret Hart, yeah, for what it was, I mean, considering all the things they had against them, football players, battle royal, I thought Bret Hart did a great job. So I'm gonna say this was a good match. Wasn't great, but it was fine.
So during this match, William Perry gets thrown over by Big John Studd, and then he goes says, "Hey, let's shake hands." And Big John Studd shakes his hand, and William Refrigerator Perry pulls him out of the ring. Was it
Yeah,
ever supposed to like lead into something?
I think so. But the end, I think it was going. If I think it was going to, I don't know, but I know like the NFL probably would have been weird. That dude, he was like the biggest star. I didn't watch football as a little kid. I knew who this guy was. He had a GI Joe figure too.
Yeah, he did have a GI Joe figure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like I don't know, like if he had gotten injured before the next season. I mean, they never won a Super Bowl again, the Chicago Bears. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered. But I could see Vince wanting this to lead to something. But also, I mean, they didn't have another pay per view until 1987. So by then, I think it was kind of over for him as a
yeah.
star. Yeah.
So Vince McMahon, we're back in New York with Vince McMahon and Susan St. James, and they're with Roddy Piper, who's cutting a promo. Same bullshit. Oh, I paint myself black. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Listening to this, I fucking hate Roddy Piper's promos. They're terrible. They're not good.
Well, this one's we're not good.
These were
You know
not
what it
good.
was. You know why this one wasn't good? It's because when he cuts promos against Hogan or Jimmy Snuka in the other ones, he likes them as people, so he's leaving them enough space to. He's still putting them over while burying them. Right? There's a way to do that. He
Yes.
does not like Mr. T, so he is just burying, and not putting in any effort because he's decided in his head, I'm never going to work with Mr. T again. Fuck this guy. Da, 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 and he's not putting any effort into it. That's why this stinks.
It's not only that, it's like he does this stupid thing where he talks in like different voices. You'll talk like this one moment, then you'll talk like it's just like, dude, can you just fucking pick one tone? Like, why
Yeah.
do you sound like a bitch sometimes? And it's just like it's just too much for me. It's just too much.
Yeah, this wasn't. But I think it's because he want. I think he was purposely trying to tank the thing because he didn't want to do anything else with Mr. T.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just say this: Roddy Piper, this bad
Dude,
performance.
I mean his promo in a year when he's on the Piper's Pit with Hogan, his promos with Hogan when they're building up the Andre the Giant match are fucking great. So when he likes you, he puts in the work.
Oh, okay. So in other words,
Dude,
he
you know
felt
what was a great? I don't mean to interrupt you. Remember, you know what was a great promo of his? The one where he tells Randy Orton, "Don't spit in my face." When when they're trying, no, John Cena, not to screw Randy Orton out of the belt. Do you ever see that one on Old School Raw?
um no, but
Because
I
remember, if Wade Barrett lost, John Cena would have to retire because that was stipulation. And Roddy Piper goes, if you screw Randy Orton, that's like an insult to me. I never won the title and I wanted to win it. And if you screw Randy, that's like spitting in my face. Don't spit in my face.
don't remember that too well, but I remember him cutting a promo on Junior when he first returned back to WWE after coming out in WrestleMania,
Yeah.
and I thought that was a good promo by
Yeah.
Roddy
No,
Piper.
see if you can find that promo with John Cena. He like really builds that match. It was between Wade Barrett and Randy Orton. And it was like his last banger promo. It was like really good.
Okay, I'll
And
have to
he
look
brings
it up.
up like your dad would be proud of you to Randy Orton. Like he weaves in like all this shit. And he really puts over the Nexus. And then, they got buried a month later and that was it.
Hmm. I'll take your word for it. Mean Gene is interviewing Jimbo Covert, and Jimbo's fucking pissed. He felt like he got cheated. Yeah, you were the first person fucking thrown out, dude.
Yeah, you
But
were cheated.
he okay, this is actually interesting. He goes, I was throwing out Haku, King Tonga, when Bill Frelick threw him out,
Yeah.
right? And he had to mention this, and it made me also think, are they trying to build something with
I mean,
these two
I
guys?
mean, maybe Vince was considering I'm going to do a second pay-per-view in '86, and then it just didn't work out, and he was planting
Uh,
seeds. Maybe he thought I could do more things to football players, and then it didn't work out. I mean,
okay.
I get it. It's fine that he's doing that, and I get the business sense. Hey, if this is a success, we can come back with more NFL matches. But I'm glad that he didn't do that.
Okay. And then Iron Sheik comes out, gives a crazy promo, but I still liked it better than Roddy Piper's.
Yeah.
We go to match number 8. We got the tag team champions, Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine with Johnny Valiant versus the British Bulldogs, who come out with Captain Lou and Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
The finish comes when Davey takes Greg Valentine and he rams it into Dynamite's head. Dynamite goes flying out. Davey covers Valentine for the win. They win the titles. While he's putting Brutus trips trying to get into the ring, so he couldn't stop the count. The Bulldogs win, but they're not anywhere in the ring. So Captain Lou and Ozzy get to hold up the belt, and they're the ones who get interviewed.
Yeah.
while the Bulldogs are outside. This was all right. This wasn't a bad match.
I love the funniest thing about this match is I love that they use this match as the basis to put Ozzy in the Hall of Fame. And like when I don't know if you remember the video package, they were like they interview like someone like Bret Hart or something, and they're like, Ozzy was really happy to be there. And that's like the reason he gets to be in the Hall of Fame. He was happy to be there.
Uh-huh.
And Cyndi Lauper stopped the whole thing.
I know, that's so stupid. Yeah, it's so
But
ridiculous.
I didn't really think much of this match. It's nice the Bulldogs got that little moment, and I guess Davey Boy's family and can be happy that he had a moment where he like won technically in the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, in that building, but I don't know. The match was just there for me.
I would say the more I watch Dynamite Kid, the more flaws I see of it.
Oh wow, look at you!
And it is, you know what it is? He's very stoic, and he is a good wrestler. Like his stomps look good, his fucking like shoulder blocks into the corners look good, but it's like there's no emotion, and it can't get you invested into him. You know,
Yeah.
you're just like watching a guy who's wrestling well. You know,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this match was what it was.
even Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, who were great technical wrestlers, they told a story in the ring with like their facials or whatever. Dynamite Kid didn't really do that, and I think I don't think this guy would have ever been anybody big. Like,
Well, he wasn't. So
yeah,
he needed Davy Boy. Davy Boy was his guy. So I
yeah,
mean, look, here's the deal. Davy Boy went on to have success for years and years and years, and is now a legend. Dynamite Kid's forgotten about. So that tells you what I can tell you.
yeah. All right, so Vince and Susan, they throw it to LA for Jesse Ventura, Lord Alfred Hayes, and Elvira. Lee Marshall, former commentator for AWA, and Tony the Tiger guy is the announcer. Lee Marshall was great too. I liked him too.
Did you see Elvira point to her tits?
Yeah, because Jesse Ventura mentioned the pair, and because of that, she points at her tits.
Dude, I think, and I've thought this since I was a kid, and I think Elvira is like one of the sexiest like female celebrities of all time.
I think a lot of people would agree with me. Yes,
Okay.
I would.
You don't like the way she shows. I know you like big tits. You like the way she shows off her tits. I just love the way like she does the whole thing.
I was a big Elvira fan when I was a kid growing up, right? And I still think she's amazing.
Yeah.
I know she got sued and stuff, right? Because they said that she ripped off somebody else who ripped off somebody else.
Vampira, but I don't think she. I saw Vampira. Elvira was like. I just think it's an evolutionary character. It's like completely different.
Yeah.
Vampira was more like gothic. Elvira's supposed to be sexy. Like she's supposed to be sexy and like.
Well, Vampira
burlesque.
wasn't goofy, right?
No, Elvira's goofy. Vampira wasn't.
Vampira wasn't goofy.
No,
right?
no.
That was part of Elvira's charm, that she was goofy. You know?
Yeah, well, she did improv with Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, I didn't know that, but
They got started together.
Yeah, I'm a big Elvira fan. I really like
Yeah, and
Elvira.
I thought she did of all the women, she did the best job as a color comment. She did a better
Is
job, I
she
think, than
still
Renee Paquette,
alive? Holy
than
shit,
Renee
she's
Young
still
did.
alive?
What?
Oh, I didn't know she was still alive. She's 71.
Yeah, she's still alive, and she still dresses up like that. She still has
Dude,
nice tits.
I bet you she still looks great. You
Oh
know?
yeah, dude. I would.
Dude, I
Oh
used
god.
to watch Elvira's movies and shit like that too, dude.
Mhm.
You know? Still find her very, very attractive.
But no,
So
I thought she did a really good job as a color commentator, and I think she's actually better than Renee Young. So there you go.
I think both Susan St. James and Elvira both did great.
Yeah,
You
Kathy
know?
Lee Crosby wasn't that good, but also she really didn't have much to work with. So
No. Kathy Lee wasn't that great, but I thought Elvira and Susan were great. And like I
yeah.
said, when I read reviews of this, people were shit on their commentary, and I'm like, no way, dude. They actually added so much more because they were like the outsider
Mm-hmm.
of who's first time seeing wrestling, and their reactions were like perfect. That was exactly what you wanted. Um, okay, so I forgot where we were. Okay, we go to match number 9, first match in LA. Hercules Hernandez versus Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat hits a crossbody for the win. What did you think?
Dude, this match was shockingly how much I like this match. Ricky Steamboat was so fucking good back then, bro. I mean, like the show, like I said, I like the Battle Royal and I like the Jake the Snake Squash, but those are very elementary. Ricky Steamboat was moving like 80 miles per hour in this match. And I gotta admit, Hercules kind of kept up with him. I was surprised how much I liked this match. I don't remember this match being that good.
Hercules Hernandez was fucking cool. He looked like a fucking $1,000,000.
Yeah, people, I used to like him as a kid, and then like people would like he just kind of was forgotten about. I'm like, this guy
Yeah, he
wasn't
is.
that bad.
No, he wasn't. He really wasn't that bad, and unfortunately, he like passed away when he was 47. So that's
Yeah,
really
and
young.
they never like put out figures of him. He's never in any games. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He was in the company for years,
Yeah.
and they never they act like it's weird. He's like one of those guys. See, when they don't talk about you, that's when I think something happened. Because when they like go out of their way not to talk about you, I think there's a reason for that.
Hmm.
Because it's
Yeah.
like even if they badmouth you, at least they're like we're talking about WWE. If like how they made that DVD about where they just shit on the Warrior the entire time. When
Yeah.
they talk about you, that's still good. Like they still want something out of you. But when they just act like you never existed, I think that that's when Vince really didn't like you.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
We go to match number 10. Adorable Adrian Adonis. And now he's in the full Adrian Street gimmick with Jimmy Hart versus Uncle Elmer.
Whew.
Uncle Elmer is such a slob. He's such a fucking NWA slob that there's a point where he punches Adonis and he falls down himself because he's so fucking out of shape and like not coherent.
Mhm.
There's this great part where Uncle Elmer starts ripping Adrian Adonis's dress off, and because he's fat, and Elvira goes, "Put the dress back on." Right?
I kept waiting. I kept thinking, is Elvira going to make like an anti-trans joke, right? But you
Yeah.
know what? They didn't really go like anti-trans people with their they shit on Adrian, but it wasn't like
No, they just shit on how fat he was. It was
yeah
great.
they didn't shit like he's a weirdo because he wears dresses. I thought that was
Uh,
I'm like I think because Elvira probably knew trans people back then, but I was like
yeah.
surprised like the commentary they didn't go that direction. I was kind
No,
of
they didn't.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this great part where this is how good Elvira was on commentary. She goes, "This is I've never seen so much satellite in one place." And Jesse Ventura goes, "Oh, you're talking about the both of them?" And she goes, "No, I was just talking about Adonis." Remember, his opponent is Uncle Elmer. That shit was fucking hilarious to me. Um, anyways, Uncle Elmer hits a no, Adonis hits a splash from the top to win. This was what it was. The best part was Elvira's commentary.
Yeah. Elvira's commentary was great, and but I think they did a good job. Like again, a lot like the Jake the Snake match, did a good job of setting up Adrian as a threat. I think if you're a new fan, you're like, "Who's this idiot?" You probably want to dismiss him, and then this match, like, "Oh, this is a guy This is a guy to like, he could be a threat, even though he dresses like an idiot. He looked awful. Like it was so stupid to put him in this outfit.
He looked awful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lord Alfred Hayes is with Hogan, who cuts a promo on Bundy and Heenan. And we're going to go to match number 11. The Funk Brothers, Terry Funk and Dory Funk, who is now called Haas Funk, with Jimmy
like
Hart. What?
I like that name better than Dory Funk.
Why did they call him Haas Funk and not Dory Funk Jr.?
Probably because
Dory Funk.
I think Vince probably agree with me that Dory's a stupid name, and also maybe he wanted to own a trademark on it.
Oh, okay. That's probably right. Versus Tito Santana and Junkyard Dog. During this, who I would say, the way they've even placed this, I feel like right after Hogan, it was these two guys.
Yeah.
Like Tito Santana and Junkyard Dog are like right after Hogan. Like if Hogan turned out to be if he died, Vince was.
Well, I think if Hogan had died, let's say the next day he drops dead, I would have put the belt on Ricky Steamboat right away.
Yeah, but I think Junior was aiming for JYD or
JYD. Yeah, but I could see Tito because
so popular.
I think if they had gone with Tito, I think he would have went because his dad was really into like ethnic baby faces. I think they would have went for like the Latino market with Tito as a champ.
Yeah, but Junkyard Dog is so popular in this.
Yeah,
there's this great moment where they're wrestling on the outside and you hear a fan yelling at the Funks, "Go back to the NWA! Go back to the NWA!" Junkyard Dog, he tags Jimmy Hart, and Terry Funk gets the microphone and he hits JYD over the head with it for the win. What did you think?
Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't like anything like to write home about, especially considering like all four of these guys are pretty talented. It was just okay. I kind of feel like the ending deflated the crowd, but it makes sense because I think at the time they're trying to build up Terry Funk for a run with Hogan, and you got to get him over.
You can see Vince McMahon positioning Junkyard Dog as like the second most popular good guy in this company. But the only thing was like, why did you even though he's like in this high position, there's lots of moments where Junior is sabotaging him. Right?
I think it's because of his drug problem. It was almost like, I think it's like I got to get this guy to be less popular because guys like Ricky Steamboat and fucking Corporal Kirshner, I don't know. I'm just throwing that one out there. Don't have a fucking drug problem. They're not fucking train wrecks. So I can make them my number 2 guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, okay. Then, yeah, because like even Wrestling Classic, he didn't make him look good at the end, even though he wins, right? And this thing, he's the one who eats the pinfall.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and he also makes him look stupid at WrestleMania 3 in a year, or he's still.
Yeah, I was like, if Hogan were to die and this guy's supposed to be the next guy up, like you wouldn't have Hogan. He wouldn't sabotage Hogan like this, right? So
no, I think like he kept putting him in high positions because he was popular, but I don't think Vince wanted him as a number 2 guy at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he wanted either Tito or Ricky. And, I don't know what he thought about Savage yet, but I think it was Tito or Ricky. I mean, I'm telling you, if Hogan did die, like if Hogan, I would have put the belt on Ricky the very next day and made him the guy. He's so good in the ring, man, compared to everybody else.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go to our 10th and final match. And I'm going to say everything from this point moving forward, I fucking love.
Yes.
It's the old school steel cage. So it's like the blue one. And there's nothing that comes down. They have to like manually put this together, right? So you see guys carrying chunks of the fucking ring and putting it together for Hogan versus Bundy. They show you a video package of King Kong Bundy and fucking Don Morocco attacking Hulk Hogan, showing how he injured her ribs. Great shit. Then they show Hogan working out in the gym with his buddy, Hillbilly Jim, and his doctor. And, they're like, Hogan, are you sure you're going to be okay? And Hogan's like, dude, I got to train harder to fucking prove to you guys that I'm not injured. And he's like, I'm going to do the heavy chins. I'm like, the heavy chins? What's that? He goes, He fucking put like a dumbbell around his neck, and he fucking does chin ups. I was like, damn, Hogan.
Did you
This is
see?
why he's so popular. You know?
Did you see the look on his face when he first puts it around his neck? He looks like, why the fuck am I doing this? He looks for a second like, oh shit, and then he just does it. But
Yeah,
there's a moment where he's like, what the fuck am I doing?
yeah. But this
Yeah.
is so great. This is why I think Hogan was so popular because not only is he charismatic, right? Like not
Mhm.
only is he really charismatic and entertaining, and not only can he wrestle well in the ring,
Yeah.
he is like a Superman character. You
Yeah.
know, like he's like John Cena. Like you can't beat this fucking guy up. You know, like this guy
Hmm.
is so strong. Then we go to Jesse Ventura, who's with Bobby Heenan and King Kong Bundy. Bobby Heenan cuts a great promo. This is it. This is the end of Hulkamania. I'm sick and tired of this. Get ready for Bundy Mania. Elvira throws this back to Vince McMahon and Susan St. James. Susan St. James, she tells us great. She goes, ugh, Bundy Mania. Are you kidding me? No way. Doesn't even sound good. Bundy Mania. No, no, no. Hulk Hogan's going to win. Come on, let's go. And I fucking
Hmm.
loved it. You get Tommy Lasorda from the Dodgers. Was he the coach of the Dodgers? Well,
Yeah,
whatever.
the Dodgers. Yes, the Dodgers.
Baseball coach, famous Slim Fast spokesman. He is the announcer, the guest announcer. Ricky Schroeder from Silver Spoons. He's the guest
Okay, now
timekeeper.
Ricky Schroeder's a lunatic who lives in the woods.
Is he really?
Yeah, his Instagram was scary, bro.
I like Ricky Schroeder in NYPD Blues. He was good at that.
Well, he was apparently that's when he started going crazy. That's when he was. I heard he got killed off because he was like hard to work with.
Oh,
Yeah,
I I believe that. Uh, Robert Conrad. He is a guest referee. I don't know who that is.
he's like an actor from the '70s.
Oh, okay. And we get the King Kong Bundy's in the ring, and then we get Hulk Hogan, and we get full blown Hulk Hogan. We're talking
Mhm.
about his fucking music. He comes, he rips the fucking shirt. This is like full Hulk Hogan, like the kind that you know him for. This is fucking great.
Mhm.
It's a great act. Elvira's great on commentary with Jesse Ventura. These two are great. Lord Alfred Hayes, you can forget about them.
I mean,
They
they
have
play all.
great
Yeah,
chemistry.
Jesse and Elvira play off each other really well.
Yeah. So there's a part where fucking Hogan grabs Bundy and he fucking throws him head first into the cage. You see Bundy fucking blading. You do see him. You see him kind of fucking blading
Mhm.
on the mat. You know, Bundy's kind of green at this point, right? He's like pretty new, right?
I don't know if
Because
he
I
was
don't think
new. I just don't think he was. He had. I think his charisma was a lot of what made. I don't think he was ever a good worker, but this is the best match on the show. Make no mistake about
he
it.
yeah, he debuted in 1981.
Yeah, so he's
So
not that
he
new.
yeah, but he's about like 5 years in the
Yeah,
business, right?
yeah.
So what do you call it? Anyways, going back to this. So yeah, Elvira, but so Bundy's bleeding early, right? Because he hit the head and he's bleeding. And fucking Elvira, when she first sees Bundy with the blood, she fucking squeals.
Hmm.
And it does it so well because here's the Mistress of Darkness
Yeah.
who's into all these horror movies, and you hearing her squeal shows you like it's great. It's fantastic. They do a Bundy hits the avalanche, and Hulk Hogan he starts hulking up, and he body slams Bundy, drops the leg drop, and he starts climbing out for the over the cage. But while this is happening, this is my favorite part. Bundy starts crawling for the door. And it's like a slow race between who can climb down, if Hogan can climb down first or Bundy can get to the door. Bundy gets the door open and he's got like his arm out when Hogan fucking comes down. He fucking wins. Hogan wins. Then he takes fucking Bobby Heenan into the cage and he bumps him around a couple of times. Heenan leaves. Elvira on commentary says, "This is the wrestling match of the decade. WrestleMania 2. Fantastic. I fucking loved it, man.
This was a great main event. Like I said, everyone went into this event wanting to see Hogan beat Bundy. They thought he was going to beat Bundy, and he did it, and it was awesome. Sometimes the predictable way is the right way. And dude, I'm so tired of people saying Hogan's a bad worker. Just watch this match. He's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad worker. Watch this whole event. he delivers. It's a great match. He makes Bundy look like $1 million. He
He carries
sells.
Bundy.
Yeah. It's just like it was a really good match. It's a really good story. The fact that the NWA when they're putting up the cage, they show credits or they read from their journals or I don't know what the hell they do. But this was they had these entertaining video packages. So you're not even I watch this video package and I'm not even oh, I want to get to the match. I'm show me more video packages. This is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
Hogan's funny in these. It was really good. It was the moment from the moment that the JYD match ends, I feel like the real show begins. This is the
Yes.
real show.
Yes. This is when I watched this, it was this is why Hulk Hogan was the face of the company.
And this is why he was the man and Ric Flair wasn't.
He
Because
is head and shoulders above any other performer in this wrestling. And there's lots of legends on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Almost everybody's a legend, right?
Yeah.
And he is head and shoulders above the rest.
He
Absolutely.
really is. He has more charisma. Sorry, my whip. He has more charisma. He has he has more charisma. He knows how to work. He knows how to put on a show. And it's a main, you're getting if you came for the main event, you got your money's worth.
Yes, absolutely. The people in LA got spoiled in this fucking pay.
Yeah, because the people in New York got ripped
I would
off.
have been so pissed if I was in New York or if I was in Chicago. I'd have been like, why the fuck didn't we get this?
Oh god. Yeah, the LA people, they got a really good
They got Ricky
they got a
Steamboat.
really good
They
episode
got
of SmackDown.
Elvira. They got the fucking Hogan match, dude. Oh man, yeah. The LA people really got to be.
Yeah, even the Uncle Elmer match was better than half the shit in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the all in all. I mean, it's a weird show, but the main event delivers, which I guess is that's great. So, but other than that, it's a very weird show. It's a very weird show.
Yeah. I am gonna say that now all the pay-per-views we've seen so far, my favorite match is actually Hogan versus King Kong Bundy, WrestleMania 2.
Wow.
This
All right.
is
See.
my favorite. I think this is better than Tully and
No, I disagree on that, but I like
yeah.
this match. This is my favorite of the WWE matches we've seen. This is my favorite. So.
Remember because I said at that point I liked Tully versus Ricky Steamboat. But this one
This is
had a
better than
better
Tully
ending.
versus Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah, this had a great ending. It was a great ending, great build, everything. I'm gonna say no, still Carlos Colon versus Abdullah Butcher is still the worst match I've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean the Moolah match is bad, but the reason I get mad at it is more so knowing what we know now and knowing what they could have done with women even back then.
Yeah,
it is. I mean,
at least the Moolah match was fast.
At least she didn't start licking the blood. Oh, that would have been
yeah.
That licking the blood, I don't think will ever be top. That is just, and the fact that we have to sit and pretend oh, NWA was traditional, it was real wrestling, and they're just licking each other's blood. It's give me a fucking break, marks. Yeah. Oh, but WWE has shitty work rate, and NWA's work rate was so good, and then come on.
So you said Tully versus who was your favorite?
Magnum.
Oh, you still think that was a steel cage match too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's still my favorite. I mean, there's better WWE matches coming up, but right now it's still my favorite match that we've seen, and that's my favorite NWA match. There's not better matches coming up in NWA, but there's better matches in WWE on the path. All right, so next week is Starrcade '86, where we're going to see Nikita Koloff versus Ric Flair. And then in 2 weeks, we've got WrestleMania 3, which is Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. That'll be a really fun show to look back on. Then we have Starrcade '87, which is Ric Flair versus Ronnie Garvin, and then things change because the next week after that is the first Survivor Series.
Ooh, can't wait for that.
Which is Team Hogan versus Team Andre. So that should be fun. Guys, if you made it, if you're a fan of the podcast, announce this week. We're gonna announce the lineup hopefully soon, maybe by the time this drops. Clotheslines and Punchlines at the Haha Cafe, March 27th. I'll be your host. Dan Berry will be there. We have a ton of stars. You'll see. And
Yeah.
We're gonna have info on where to buy tickets for that soon. But until then, follow me on social media, Ray Gootz Comedy on TikTok, but on Instagram and Twitter, Ray Gootz, for more information. And subscribe to the podcast and check us out. Yeah, Andrew, you got anything you want to say?
No, but enjoy WrestleMania 2, everybody.
Yeah, and next week we're gonna see if we're gonna have any enjoyment from Starrcade '86, the Skywalkers. So we'll see you then. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.